also grew up with my grandma. And while she was talking about the Oberberg and Verliesdorp and all those places, my granny lived in Grabouw, Elgin, on Applegarth.
Yes.
And she was working there in the madam's house those days.
Okay.
And there she introduced them to tea that you make with black tea with cloves in there, mint in there, and cinnamon sticks, and dried apple, and buchu teas. And up till today, I still do it, and I love it to bits.
Ma, tell me now. You saying your granny worked in the madam's house? Did your granny teach
apples and pick up apples? She had 8 children while her husband was in 2 world wars.
Ma, I want to know who taught who to make this tea.
My granny.
Your granny taught them
because I was raised by them.
And your granny taught the madam as well.
Yeah, she taught madam also.
Okay. I think that is such an important story for you to share. So this culture of tea, and specifically things that are unique to us, like rooibos and buchu, has been going on for a long time. And I think it's important for us to preserve that culture. Then thank you very much.
There is so much, Clarence.
Thank you for sharing the story, Marvanisha Engelbrecht there. Clearly pricked a bit of a memory. Quinique, thank you for that. But you were saying, so a lot of tea stories still need to be told.
Absolutely.
And you are starting that trend.
Yes, absolutely. I think we forget that was one of the first transactions that happened at the refreshment station. We seem to forget that when the sailors came in and they needed to find their healing on the shores from scurvy or whatever else it is that the sicknesses were, it wasn't just the citrus fruits that we were giving them. We had access to the entire veld. So we were giving them buchu. We were giving them herbal remedies.
Jou mag sê is 'n bietjie.
Ja, jou mag is 'n bietjie seer. Jy het mos nog gesê jy gaan 3 maande. Jy gaan nie vir 2 maande bly en dan gaan jy mos nou weer terug, verstaan jy? So ons gaan nou vir jou 'n bietjie medisyne laat jy net vir jou kan opjuice en hier weer met die ship. Maar toe bly jy mos nou natuurlik. En
verlief.
Ja, jy het nou verlief geraak op ons, and then you decided to stay, you stayed. And we continued the trend. We continued the sharing. I mean, one of the statements that I've placed on the website is from the veld, the kitchen, and the refreshment station.
I want to understand that, yeah.
So the veld for me is not just historical. I think every time we speak about Khoi, we forget about the Khoi descendants. So we kind of want to, close up the curtain and say, well, you've only got 40% of that genetic code left in you. And also, by the way, you were renamed in 1948. So let's just forget that you ever exist. 1951, sorry, my apologies. So that being said, if we had to forget even that these people exist, and even if we had to say, let's draw the line, they're extinct, right? If I look at the geographical disbursement of where these people were, if I go and visit these small little villages and I say, what's the history of this little town? They would say it's the Khoi and the Dutch, or some form of European combination that's happening here. And I would say, okay, so the Dutch descendants are still here. Where's the Khoi? Did they just disappear? Who are these people? And the more and more I start to engage about church history, Muslim history, and taking care of the orphans, the more you start to look into Basta, Griqualand, Adam Kok, all of these beautiful stories. You look at the remnant and you say, hey, wag 'n bietjie man. Die remnant lyk baie bekend. Then you start to do archaeology,
dig.
Yes, you start to do some archaeology dig, and you find that these people go missing and they're not allowed to speak about these things anymore. You go to Part2, you say, hey, you look like me, you speak my language, you eat the food that I eat, but you're not colored, but I'm colored. How does this work? And those things for me is, the veld is not just what got left after the chicken pox and everybody got exterminated. It's everything that remained. So when I go to church and iemand hardloop in a circle, daai lyk vir my soos die bushfire. When I'm not, just because I'm not carrying a satchel on my back and I'm half naked, giving you buchu out of a tortoise shell, but I'm giving it to you in newspaper and I'm wearing hessian on the side of the road. That is the remnant of what remained. And I will glory in that. As for the kitchen, we forget that if we say, okay, according to historical records, it was maybe Krotua and her love relationship, or a compromised relationship with Jan. There's your first colored born, Neda. And what was she? She was a kitchen slave. So you ate this food, And we continued in that kitchen. Then we started to adapt your language and we started to speak Khoi style.
And put some spice into your food.
And we put some lekker Malay spice ook nou in die deel ingegooi, lekker deur. And Oma continued that. She was a domestic. This wasn't long ago. This is 40, 50 years ago.
Tea is so social. Don't stop talking. I'm having more tea.
Okay, fantastic. So the next flavor
I want you to finish with the kombuis and the veld.
Okay. So the kombuis for me is really, it's that holding space. Those are one of the first places where the women were being enslaved and kept. And this is a place that you could share your recipes. So one of those recipes that we tend to forget is something like biltong, which was preserved meat. Right? We forget that that's part of our culture because hoe het hulle dan vleis geëet? Hulle het mos nie yskas gehad nie. Okay. You've got things like vetkoek.
Okay.
You've got vetkoek. Deep fried in animal fat. You had your bread and you deep fried. We still eat vetkoek today. You've got your potbrood. So jy het 'n pot gevat, you took a vase, you put it over a hot fire, and here comes your fresh bread, your oma broodjie as we would have it now. Another one of those things I would say is, trying to remember now. Okay, het val nie nou vir my by nie.
I think you've taken so much responsibility on your shoulder, and it's really beautiful because I think it's liberating for me on the receiving end of your energy. I don't know, Carla, if you
I'm loving it.
Apart from tea just being so wonderfully social, is it not?
Yes, I mean, this is the high tea I want to go to. This is the
but she does this stuff as well.
Yeah,
you do this kind
and
of tea tasting.
Yes,
no?
I do.
And then you tell these stories as well.
Absolutely, and then we share poetry together, and I permit the audience to tell me about their family stories.
I love you very much, Quinique Jagers. I want people to discover you and your tea. So tell us how they can.
Okay, so there's multiple ways. I think the most basic way that you can do it is you can go to our website. It's kaapsekhoi.co.za and you're able to make an online purchase. Furthermore, you will find my contact details there if you'd like to make contact with me on Instagram, Facebook, and on WhatsApp because we take orders that way as well. In terms of our resellers, we have the Quinique Art Institute where we had actually launched our tea in September last year. So they are a reseller of ours. We've also got the Quinique Beauty Bar out in Milnerton. So they offer not just indigenous haircuts or taking care of that, but also a massage, and they offer the teas as part of those services as well. And then we are also at the Coffee at the Vine at the Cape Gardens. Yes.
And it's 85 Rand a pack of tea, and I can taste all that antioxidant goodness, all the healthy stuff. Which one did I just drink now?
So the one that you had now was the hibiscus flavor, and I know that is a big shock in comparison to the one that you had previously. So this one is a little bit more tangy. It has like a sour and citrusy strength to it. It's also very woody, so the longer that this tea will start to seep, the more the myrrh resin would actually start to mount.
I gotcha.
And the stronger that woody smell and that medicinal smell will become. And then that bitterness that you were speaking about, Carla, will start to come through. But you still have the subtleties of the bucha. And this one for me, especially for the woman, I think it's wonderful because it cleans out your uterus. Okay. But also if you keep a flask with you on day one of that beautiful 28 cycle, it takes away the inflammation and those excessive cramps.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. Okay, can you just stick around for a wee while longer?
Absolutely.
Okay, because we want to come back and wrap up our conversation with Kaapse Khoi. Tea tasting with Quinique Jagers, founder of Kaapse Khoi. What wonderful discoveries we are making today at 11:31. Time for Eyewitness News headlines. Graham Robenheimer standing by.
Thanks so much. Clarence is getting all the hot tea. I've got some other tea to spill. The SA presidency, the SA presidency says Cyril Ramaphosa is currently safe in Kyiv, Ukraine. It's despite his security detail being held up in Poland. The security contingent's been barred from disembarking an SAA chartered flight, which is currently transporting his detail's weapons ahead of his visit to Ukraine as well as Russia over this long weekend. Well, the president is due to visit a mass grave in the Kyiv area, where nearly 500 people were left for dead in the early weeks of the Russia-Ukraine conflict. We'll bring you the very, very latest on all that developing abroad, especially in Poland, where our reporter Lindsay Dentlinger is on board that flight, which is due to leave the Warsaw Chopin Airport any time now. We'll bring you the latest developments.